Well, good evening and welcome to Twickenham, or welcome back to Twickenham if you've just enjoyed the TV coverage of the men's game. The dust will be barely allowed to settle here before 46 more players start to take their place on the field. And here come the England women. Ireland already making their way out onto the hallowed turf. My name's Nick Heath, delighted to be in your company this evening. We've seen a humdinger of a game for England's men. 21 points to 10, their victory. And we now have the anthems.
Please remain standing for the national anthem, led by England's official anthem, singer performed by Laura Wright.
So my name's Nick Heath and I'm delighted to be joined this evening by a Rugby World Cup winner. Her dancing feet have seen her compared to one Jason Robinson, a scoring record of 36 tries in 60 internationals, not to be sniffed at. It's a very good evening to Danielle Waterman. Just before we come to you, Danielle, let's just run through the teams quickly. England's starting 15 contains 490 caps as Scott Beeman makes two changes from their win away in Italy. Lydia Thompson comes onto the right wing in place of Ruth Laybourne, whilst at hooker Emma Croker gets the nod to start ahead of Amy Cockayne. In the centre, Lauren Cattell had loved to make it 3 tries in 3 games, having scored against both Scotland and Italy, with Amber Reid continuing to provide a physical presence at fly half. World Cup winning skipper Sarah Hunter's ever present and leads from number 8. The starting lineup contains 3 players who were on the bench at the Stoop in the win in November: Vicky Cornborough, Harriet Miller-Mills and try scorer that day Izzy Noel-Smith. For Ireland, coach Tom Tierney makes 2 personnel changes as he opts for the more experienced Nora Stapleton at fly half, a key member of that Grand Slam winning side of 2013. In the back row, Ciara Griffin's brought in, which sees Paula Fitzpatrick shift to number 8. Sophie Spence, who was 29 yesterday, will partner Maz Riley in the second row. A combined 69 caps between them in a side that contains 376. That's 114 less than their hosts. Well, Amber Reid is going to get things underway. And I can bring in Danielle Waterman. You all right, Danielle?
Good evening, Nick.
Good to have you with us. As Ireland have possession inside their own 22. Comes through Naupu. And the ball is cleared over on the far side. So England will have the first opportunity to show a bit of set-piece skill from the line-out. So first line out for England. An opportunity for Emma Croker to make her first hit, and it hasn't gone England's way. Comes out the back, it's a little bit messy for Larissa Muldoon. And Ireland start the drive. Up to the 10-metre line. Muldoon off to the right. Wanting to keep the ball in hand, and there's Niamh Briggs, the skipper. Decent clear out as well, Muldoon. Once again through Stapleton. There's the experienced Claire Malloy. She can be a real threat in the back row for Ireland's women. And again, Stapleton feeding well. Mairead Coyne stepping in, the left winger on that occasion. Ireland again keep it in hand. Players running around the corner. Big carry, Sophie Spence that time. Score of the try against Wales, but England have turnover ball here, and it's with Sarah Hunter, and can they find the chance to put Lydia Thompson in the corner? She's certainly running hard, 8 metres short. Really good use of the ball on the turnover from England, and then it goes into touch over on the far side, but reacting well to the moment.
Yeah, fantastic line break there by Lydia, but I think what was more impressive was actually England's defence. Unfortunately, they turned over the ball at the line out on the 10-metre line, but there wasn't actually many carries that made it over the gain line from Ireland. So, yeah, some great defence and turned into what was a brilliant break by Lydia.
Lydia Thompson made her first test appearance in 7 months in that Italy clash. She was, of course, in that Rugby World Cup winning squad. Had her World Cup cut short with a groin injury. Ireland now with the defensive line, and it's a good rise from Maz Riley, Mary Louise Riley, known as Maz, earning her 42nd cap here at Twickenham. Speaking during the week, Maz Riley expecting a wide and physical game from England, and certainly in some of those tries that we've seen from England in their earlier games, they do like to try and play that wide, expansive game. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little while with Danielle Waterman. And England now trying to do their best with the ball cleared away by Ireland. Amber Reid trying to get the pod of players in front of her, but the referee calling the penalty, saying there was a high tackle. The attempt wasn't low enough, and England might have their first chance of points. Amber Reid then points to the posts. Niece, of course, of Andy Reid, the British and Irish Lion and Scotland lock. And a Rugby World Cup winner herself. So where we saw Ireland getting first points on the board in the men's international, can it be England to get first blood in the women's fixture? Reid begins a run up. Doesn't leave an awful lot to spare, but it doesn't matter because the flags are raised and England do have the first points on the board, and that'll be a real nerve settler.
Yeah, definitely, and actually what it also shows is the intent to take points if Ireland are willing to be able to, give away those penalties. So I think it's always a little bit unnerving giving away a penalty right early on indoors, because it shows the intent also from the referee.
Yes, referee keenly keeping an eye on the legality of the tackles, and Ireland will get restarted through Briggs. Good gather from Cattell. Toya Mason making her way over, but Emma Croker was in position, so she was the one to make the feed. Latoya Mason then in communication with the referee, wanting the penalty, but in fact it goes against England, does it? Holding on the floor for all of Latoya Mason's pleads to the referee. It's just going to give Ireland a chance to take this and territory up the right-hand touchline. They might not have made touch though. No, Lauren Cattell well placed to receive it and hoists it high. Kick chaser's got to be good from England here. It's away from Muldoon, back into Briggs. Just inside England's half, Muldoon. Shorter ball that time, and nice little jink in field from Ciara Griffin. Off through Muldoon. And then Spence was a little loose, but Naupu helps settle it down. Ireland certainly getting a decent amount of ball wide, and that's some good go forward from Ruth O'Reilly. Muldoon, Stapleton, little chip through, Briggs is after that one. Sarah Hunter had to be wise on her running line there, just to try and make it a slightly longer journey for Briggs to get around as she tried to put the pressure on there. It's a good, decent hit from Cornborough, just trying to set up the platform for England. They do then get the ball to Amber Reid. Kick is a little more lateral than it is long, but that was almost the right option from Amber Reid. Ireland just under pressure as they bring that ball back in, but they do still have it. Slow ball. Muldoon just trying to get the right calls in. England trying to spoil through Abby Scott, and it comes out. Briggs involving herself a lot as first receiver to put boot to ball. Katie Mason. Oh, and Mason gets through the first pair of tackles. Still going. Hunter running the support line on the inside. Mason didn't see her, but England happy to set up the ruck and go for the next phase. Cornborough with a big fend into the tackle of Fitzpatrick. Referee makes sure the Irish defenders are onside. Reid, little flatter that time for Miller Mills. Saw her look very dangerous in that game against Scotland, grabbing a brace of tries. Miller Mills, England trying to create the extra player on the outside. It's just been nudged forward as it came away there from Lauren Cattell. But certainly when England are able to get it through the phases, well, they're looking threatening.
Yeah, definitely. Katie Mason there making a fantastic break, but a probably slight defensive error more than anything. What's interesting at the start of this game, there's been 3 kicks by Niamh Briggs, who is normally fantastic and on the button. She's missed 2 touches, and that one there was a kind of a sitter for England. So hopefully it's just a few nerves for her, but obviously it's working in England's favour at the moment.
So to those of you who joined us for this evening's live stream of this Women's Six Nations match, it's great to have your company. We were obviously hoping to come on a little earlier than we were, but the men's game, as gripping as it was, just taking its time to come to its conclusion. So we haven't missed a kick, but certainly we would have loved a little bit more time to talk you through how both of these two teams have been faring in the competition so far. Don't forget, you can keep in touch with us. We'd love to hear where you're watching. If you use the hashtag #SendHerVictorious, then we can hear about your thoughts and what you're saying. Lorna George, come on ladies. Good to hear that you're watching, Lorna. And England with the 3-point advantage inside the opening 9 minutes of the match. Just going to have that one reset. We had a look at the 2 starting lineups just to make mention of a few of the replacements. Great to see Tamara Taylor back on the bench for England. Rugby World Cup winning colleague of yours, Danielle, looking for her 89th cap and coming back from injury.
It's a fantastic opportunity for Tamara to be back in the team. She's a huge stalwart in our line out, and to have her experience there to be able to come on is definitely important when you've got an 18-year-old sat next to her as well on the bench and a few slight younger players. Yes,
Poppy Leach there looking to get her second cap, but here come Ireland. Naupu with the long ball over to the right-hand side to Elise O'Byrne-White. Big tackle needed, and it comes in. Lottie Clapp Not shying away from that challenge. Muldoon, Stapleton. Looks for Mary Louise Riley. 6'4", rangy second row. Then through Briggs. Ireland playing good ball in hand rugby, and this is a great break from the hooker Maloney. Shepherded into touch, but 22-year-old. She made her debut against England in November. And it was pretty much Ireland women's first foray into the autumn international schedule back in November. And, well, they came to the stoop. It was a tight old affair, and they certainly blooded a few youngsters that are seeing today their second game against England. It finished 8-3 to England, the try from Izzy Knowles-Smith coming right towards the end of that game. So that'll be ringing in the ears of the Ireland players, wanting to avenge that result. Little show from Reid. Got a little caught up in midfield there before she could get that ball away. England, they're all on this left-hand side, so they're going to have to be aware of any turnover ball, which Ireland have, and they go that side. Breaking through is O'Reilly. Spence. England have got to be careful that they've got their defenders in the right places here. Ireland have numbers left if they can use it. Fitzpatrick. Muldoon. Maloney bundled into touch. But England nearly getting caught there, Danielle.
Yeah, there's some really good intent from Ireland at the breakdown. Claire Malloy is a fantastic number 7, and England need to make sure that they do the basics right in terms of securing their own ball at the breakdown. A couple of times Ireland have now gone into touch though. They've shown the intent to move the ball wide, but as a winger there's no chance you should be stepping in over that line if you can help it.
Defensive line out for England. Sarah Hunter claims it. Toya Mason, Harriet Miller-Mills, little pirouette into the tackle. Gains an extra metre or two. Toya Mason appeals to the referee. Gets a penalty. And that'll give England a little bit more time. Twelve members of this England starting 15 were victorious in that game against Ireland in November, but England then missing touch. Danielle mentioned how Niamh Briggs had missed touch previously. Briggs then tries to thread the ball through. Lottie Clapp fields it. A little bit of inaccuracy from the kickers on both sides. Toya Mason then wants to go short side. Emily Braun with the carry. Mason back in field. Decent feet from Abby Scott. Reid. Through Hunter, Miller-Mills. That's good onto Large. She needed the support to be a little closer, but Reid on the wraparound provides it, and then Cattell couldn't quite release Thompson. The tackle was good from Ireland to force the pressure and the pass backwards. Thompson was begging for that in a little bit of space. It came forward off an Irish hand though, and England will get the scrum.
What's good to see, Nick, from England at the moment is the interlinking play between the forwards and the backs, and you can really see the intent of playing that one-out game. Amber looking to use the likes of Harriet Mills and Sarah Hunter in the slightly wider channels to expand and challenge the Irish defence.
Pressure comes on the England scrum. They started to go backwards momentarily, but Sarah Hunter does what Sarah Hunter does. Picks up that ball and secures it brilliantly. Former England forwards coach Graham Smith, such a big fan of Sarah Hunter. She's one of the best in the world. Cornborough had a couple of decent carries so far herself. Earning her 12th cap this afternoon, the Richmond prop. Kerry Large cutting back in field. Seen a little bit more from Kerry Large in terms of her physicality in the last couple of games from England. She does play 10 as well, but being carved out more in this inside centre role and performing it well. Hunter. Tackles made by Anya Donnelly. Ball back in field, Abby Scott. Then off to Knowles-Smith. Toya Mason. earning her 52nd cap, one of the more experienced campaigners. Amber Reid, she's gone for the kick over the top there. I'm not quite sure her wingers were totally aware that that was coming. They were perhaps a little bit deep to really be able to give chase on that one. It's come off an Irish player though, so England will get the line out.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit of miscommunication there with Niamh coming onto the ball and Coyne on the wing, tracking back. And actually, as a player, you normally always say the person coming onto the ball is the person that should be claiming it. So they'll be disappointed there with a little bit of indecision.
So Ireland with a line out to defend here. Croker. Richmond hooker gets that one in. Emily Braund with the leap. Abby Scott onto Cornborough. Another one of those big carries. Latoya Mason. Hunter over the 22. Ireland calling for the defence over to the left-hand side, so that's where England decide to put it. Reid, ball out the back for Thompson, who's over on that left off the right wing. Lottie Clapp has to go in and help try and secure that ball. Latoya Mason onto Croker. Then Rocky Clark. 108 caps for Rocky Clark this evening. Hunter. England are shipping it wide. They've got to do so carefully. Ireland fan out. They've got plenty of defenders there on that occasion, but Amber Reid spots the opportunity to try and get through. She's a big physical player, Amber Reid, perhaps not just getting the acceleration through that gap that she might have wanted. Reid, little dummy that time, then the offload. Miller Mills helps try and tidy it up, and the support arrives for the clear out. Scott onto Cornborough, good offload for Croker. England making more metres. And they could have an overlap here if they're able to use it. Reid just can't hold on to it. And it will be a scrum to Ireland. Promising from the home side. But the Irish defence doing enough and making sure on each side of the field that they had the numbers in place.
Yeah, just unfortunate basic errors there from Kerry. She lifted the ball too high, but they're showing their intent in attack, but Ireland are showing that actually they're not going to make it easy for them, and it's great to see players like Sophie Spence. You know, she's playing in the second row, but yet she's making tackles in the 15-metre channel.
Another little look at England just trying to go round that side. So just while we have this brief stoppage, of course, that's how things are looking in the Six Nations table. England's results so far: 32-0 win over Scotland in round one, where Ireland overcame Wales by 21 points to 3. And then in round two, England going to Italy and triumphing there by 33 points to 24, but Ireland losing in France by 6 points to 18. And well, we'll discuss the further fixtures to come for England with Danielle Waterman shortly. There's a penalty advantage being played, and Ireland will have it, and an opportunity to clear their lines. So certainly this, the encounter that England have got to get past this evening, Danielle, but the French are certainly an outfit to be worried about. Their forwards dominance is certainly sending ripples around the Six Nations, isn't it?
Without doubt, I think they're the form team of this campaign. They've got players that have you know, really worked in terms of their strength and conditioning. They're in a fantastic physical state, and they're really combining together in terms of forwards and backs. And yeah, I would agree, their forwards are probably the most dominant force at the moment.
That will be the last round of Six Nations matches. Ball's just been knocked forward off the back of the line out by England. It's untidy ball, no advantage coming to the Irish, so they'll come back for the scrum. Other messages coming in via hashtag #SenderVictorious. Sasha Ellis, come on then girls, let's have a double. Of course, following England's men's victory. Chloe D, Saturday evening sorted, watching the live stream. Good to have your company. Laura Ash enjoying the earlier hit from Lottie Clapp. And watching from New Zealand, supporting hashtag Team Toya. Well, that's good to hear. Ireland with the scrum. They get it away with Fitzpatrick providing the guard, but it then comes straight down the throat of Lottie Clapp. And what's she capable of doing? She gets round the first tackle of her opposite number, O'Byrne White. And that'll give her some confidence. Hunter to Braund, into the middle of the field. Mason, Reid, dummy run was from Noel Smith. Cattell, decent feet from Cattell, turning into a real star performer in England's midfield, Lauren Cattell. A try in each of the games so far. Started playing her rugby age date with Chesham Stags, of course, where Rocky Clark is a coach. Made her England Sevens debut in June in 2013. Also pretty handy with the boot as well, Cattell, so decent talent in England's back line. And it's Kerry Large who puts that ball into the corner. What do you expect England to do from here, Danielle?
I think they have had success in terms of the catch and drive line out, but they're also, you know, the backs are spreading out here. What you can't quite see on your screen is Lottie Clapp standing pretty much in the 5-metre channel. So it'll be interesting to see whether the forwards provide the platform or whether they give it nice and early and spread the ball wide.
It's a full-back talking. Well,
That's where we want the ball.
Yeah, certainly. It's a cold evening, you don't want to be out there for too long, do you? Here comes the drive from England, though. It is going to be a bit of catch and drive. It pauses momentarily, but they are still going forward. Referee's chatting with their assistant, Emma Croker with the ball and gets down for the game's first try. And the fans on the far side are in good voice to support the score. Such a difficult thing to defend in the modern game, the rolling maul like that, and England executing it well. Yeah,
they did a fantastic job, and having someone like Emma Croker coming in into the starting shirt is showing her experience just to hit the basic ball. What's also pleasing is the person calling the line-outs is Abby Scott, who's 21 years old, 5th time running the line-out. So that experience is going to help her out for the rest of the game.
Well, I'm sure the pupils of Swakely School in Hillingdon will be cheering on this score, where Emma Croker teaches PE. Try awarded. She's also a title-winning weightlifter and gymnast, Emma Croker, but that is out of rugby's top draw. Catch and drive, and 5 points to England. Conversion attempt from Amber Reid. So the conversion doesn't quite get there. England with the lead, though. 22.5 minutes played. England 8, Ireland 0. And there's the drive over, 2 arms aloft from Latoya Mason. Delighted to see her fellow World Cup winner get over the line. Oh dear, now that was a little bit messy. Advantage being played to Ireland. Knock on from the restart from England, and Senanopu is trying to get through the inside centre. Plays her rugby at Gull Regions, earning her 8th cap this evening. I think the referee happy enough that the advantage has been played, and then Malloy picks and goes round the corner. Muldoon, Stapleton. Briggs joins the line, tries to step inside and get support. England eventually bring her to ground. Muldoon opts to go short side again to Spence, but Spence loses it, and Mason, with possession of turnover, puts it straight upfield, but the referee decides that's not enough of an advantage, and they will take the scrum. Got a shout out via hashtag Centre Victorious to yourself, Danielle. Say hi to Nolly from Trim, Kim Oliver.
All the way from Gibraltar. Hello, Kim.
It's good to have.
What's great is Kim has actually gone over there as a former England player to coach rugby herself, and is doing a fantastic job. So yeah, it's great to see females staying in the game and developing the game over abroad.
Indeed, keeping the boots on, as I understand the England campaign goes. England will have the scrum, untidy ball. Also got Bonnie saying come on girls, cheering all the way from Sweden. Helen Lagares, I've probably not said that right, but glad to be able to watch England-Ireland and have Nolly as commentator. Well done. Missed you here in Sao Paulo.
Would have been nice to be there. I think it's slightly warmer than
yes,
here right
indeed.
now.
People watching from as far away as Mansfield. Truly international. Plenty of messages as well, just suggesting that it would be nice to get the coverage of these games on the TV as well as on the online stream. And of course we're doing our best to bring you the coverage here this evening. We thank you for tuning in. Ball's away. Rocky Clark firing that one, sensing the opportunity on the short side. Rocky Clark onto Miller Mills. Toya Mason through Cornborough. Braund, it's a good leg drive. Was watching the players train during the week, and they were doing some strict work on hitting the tackle situation and driving through, and you could see that from Emily Braun there, and it's worked to great effect.
I think England are doing a great job at the moment, but actually Ireland will be really disappointed with themselves. There's been unforced errors throughout the first 26 minutes for them, followed by one from England. But actually it was something that they picked up from the French game, saying that they didn't want that to carry through into the performance today. So it'll be interesting to see how they settle for this last 15.
Yes, absolutely. Ball is well fielded by Mason, shapes to kick. Ball out in front of her in two hands, onto Miller Mills. Fends off the first. Can they create the overlap here? They're looking to send Cattell into the corner, puts the little chip through. It might be a little heavy from Cattell, and it bounces away. But there was some good interplay once again. We mentioned forwards and backs combining, and that was nice from Mason. Running forward, using Miller Mills, drawing in the Irish defence.
Harriet Miller Mills is getting through a lot of work at the moment. She's carrying the ball in the middle of the field, she's carrying the ball in the 15-metre channel, and what was really nice there is a simple 2-on-1 with Lottie Clapp, and she put Lauren, I think, down the wing. Basics are the most important thing, I think, and she, you know, as a young player, that's great to see.
Long restart from Ireland, brought in by Cattell. Is she going to hoist this one into the air? It's a little mid-length chip. Muldoon wasn't able to gather it though. Still loose, onto Briggs, not got a lot of time. Has to look for support, and now they come wide. Anya Donnelly does well in the circumstances. Threads that ball through. And it'll be an England line-out just inside the Irish half. Karen Neller, come on England ladies, supporting Team Cornborough. Go Vicky from Auntie Karen. Good to have you watching, Karen. Hashtag Centre Victorious. Do keep in touch with us here at Twickenham. Holly is watching in Worcester, supporting the Worcester girls. In terms of the spread of players, it's a decent spread of clubs making up England's 23 this evening. 5 from Darlington, Moden Park Sharks, 4 from Bristol, Lichfield and Worcester, 3 from Richmond, 2 from Saracens and 1 Wasp in B Dawson. A wasp called B. There we go. That's my pun for the evening. I shall try and limit them. Sarah Hunter with the take. Toya Mason. Reid. On to Miller Mills. Gets the offload away. Really well taken by Kerry Large under pressure. England go the same way with quick ball. Miller Mills is thundering through after that little threaded ball from Amber Reid, but that was some bright stuff from England. Good continuity. And Messrs Beamond and Ferguson will be pleased to have seen that first phase ball used so well.
Yeah, and actually it started with a really clean, simple line out, effectively taken by Sarah Hunter. And again, Harriet Miller-Mills in the centre. She, because of the size of her running, actually she's drawing in defence, which meant that they stepped in on her, giving Kerry that little bit of extra space to get into and in behind the gain line.
Ball is tapped down. Oh, and it might have just been nudged along on the floor there. Referee was right on the spot. And it's a good area of the field for England to have an attack. Just mentioning Harriet Miller-Mills there, the 24-year-old. She scored that brace of tries against Scotland, one in particular, a really superb running line back in field, which the Scottish defence just couldn't stick with. And she seems to have really come on and stepped up to be an international player of some class.
Yeah, she's doing a great job, and I think the thing is with Harriet, it's more about consistency. We know that she's a good ball carrier, we know that she can really be effective when she comes off of her line, but it's being consistent with that which makes you that quality international.
Oh, England nearly breaking through as Katie Mason, sorry, it was not Mason as they ran through the middle there. It was Amber Reid. Hunter, Croker. He made the right decision not to throw that loose pass away. Clark in with the clear out. Latoya Mason, Reid all through Cornborough. Went out to Miller Mills. Katie Mason, she couldn't get the ball away. It's gone forward and Ireland will have possession. And what can they do from this position? They've spent an awful lot of this first half an hour inside their own half. Ball's kicked away. Sits up for Mason. Kerry Large on the supportive run. Lottie Clapp steps back inside. Almost caught in two minds there, Lottie Clapp, I think. 20-year-old earning her 5th cap. Amber Reid just does the simple things well there. Wants to keep turning Ireland backwards, keep the pressure on, and just threads that ball through. England will have the chance to put pressure on at the line-out.
Again, but I think it's probably unnecessary pressure. Ireland, as I've mentioned, Niamh Briggs doesn't seem to be quite on ball with her kicking game at the moment. She put the ball in field to Katie Mason, which is perfect attacking ball when you've got the likes of Lottie Clapp, Lydia Thompson on the wing. So I think they're punishing themselves a little bit with the ball that they have.
Yes, Niamh Briggs, she scored the 2 penalties, which was well, the only 6 points that Ireland got against France. 8 points against Wales. Ireland are using the catch and drive to give themselves a bit more breathing space from their own 22, and they are getting some decent go forward. Ball goes down eventually, and Sophie Spence will pick and go around the fringes. Croker and Clark with the challenges. Bring her to ground. Muldoon. O'Reilly with the carry. Sets up the next platform. Briggs in at first receiver. Then out to her fly half, and then it comes through Nopu. Donnelly getting close to that touchline over on the far side. Comes again, Briggs. Kira Griffin. Now they go back from where they've just come. Stapleton with the kick downfield, but again it's a little bit aimless and it's just inviting England on to counter-attack with it. Lottie Clapp was well swallowed up. That was a good kick chase from Ireland. Wasn't directly where the ball went, but they were certainly ready for the wave of white attackers as they came forward. But England do still have it, and Sarah Hunter round the corner. Well, she somewhat fired that to Abby Scott there, and it's an opportunity for Malloy to try and get away. Muldoon. England could be caught a bit narrow here if Ireland could go wide, but they don't. Mary-Louise Riley cuts back in field. Now then, this could be the opportunity for width. Lydia Thompson's trying to call the players over. Briggs tries to straighten the line and fire the pass out to Donnelly. England's defence is set now. Has the opportunity for Ireland gone? Fitzpatrick goes route one. Noel Smith trying to effect the turnover, playing at open side. Sort of thing we've seen Marley Packer do so often. Of course, Packer now part of the England 7 setup as they bid for success in Rio 2016. As is Danielle Waterman, sat alongside me. Muldoon goes for the little chip over the top. It's well charged down by Reid, but it just bounces back into an Irish hand. And in fact, we're going back for a penalty. Not entirely sure what that signal from the referee is there.
I think it may be not rolling away.
That'll be it.
There were some twirls in there.
There were.
It's normally rolling.
There were. It was a very graceful signal. I'm not quite sure you could see it on your live streaming picture. Should have had a ribbon in her hand for that one. Now then, is it Abby Scott's just getting a little bit of attention?
There's definitely some better contact from Ireland, keeping ball in hand, but they're not necessarily challenging the England defence. It's a little bit kind of a little bit lateral. No one's really stepping against the grain and pumping their way through. So England have got time to reset, and they're running quite an effective wedge defence, which is being shown by the fact that they're not being challenged on the inside.
What is a wedge defence? Talk us through that.
So wedge defence is when you try and stay on the inside shoulder of the ball carrier, and you encourage, you go up and you offer them the outside, so you're drifting with them and drifting with the pass.
Well, Niamh Briggs has pointed to the sticks, so Ireland hoping to get their first points on the board. We've got viewers in Colombia, Nolly. Watching in Medellin, Colombia, Harry Trapp. Hashtag living the dream. Well, quite, Harry.
Colombian rugby is actually coming from strength to strength, and I think I'm right in saying that actually they've qualified for the Olympic Games with the women's sevens team, which is fantastic.
Yes, very impressive. So, Niamh Briggs to put Ireland on the board. At 30 metres out from the posts. Focuses and addresses the ball, keeps the kick low, straight and true though. Ireland cut the deficit to 5 points. Niamh Briggs gives them 3. England 8, Ireland 3. We've also got Bermuda Girls Rugby watching the stream. Restart from England. It's down for Sophie Spence. Good fend from the big second row. Plays back row as well. Away from Riley. And this is Griffin running well. There's a penalty advantage coming for a high tackle there, I think, on Abby. I thought it was Scott, but we are just going to come back for it. It's an area that the referee is obviously going to be hot on. We've seen a couple of penalties for this already. Players have got to make the tackles lower and around the top shoulder neck area. Ball goes into touch on the far side. Leona Maloney. Taken by Maz Riley. Running round was the hooker. Nice little move that from Ireland. They set up the ruck in the middle of the field. Able to offer threats on both sides, and it's a good pick and go from Ireland through Cornborough that time. We've seen England with the catch and drive for the try. Ireland looking to try and play some up the jumper stuff themselves. Referee signalling another penalty. Rolling away the call again, and this could be a chance for Ireland to keep the scoreboard ticking over. Indeed, Briggs signals for the tee, and this will be a chance to double Ireland's tally.
I think this is something that England have to be very careful of. Neve is going to, potentially punish them, and where 8-0 at half-time is a very different story to 8-6. So I think they're going to need to tighten up, and Ireland have shown their intent in terms of making sure that they challenge them.
Good to see plenty of people sticking around after the men's game. The fans have been moved down to the lower tiers. We are in the east stand, and we have fans below us. And opposite, here's Neve Briggs. Focused address of the ball, swings the right boot. Ireland come to within 2 of England, and as Danielle Waterman says, discipline is going to be so important in this game. England building up the lead of 8 points, but just giving it away through those penalties, and they've got to be whiter than white at the breakdown.
Yeah, indeed, and I know that that's something that Matt recognised, the forwards coach, before the game, that the breakdown was pretty much the area the game was going to be won and lost.
Spence with a really nice take there. Just clung onto it with both hands. Muldoon, Briggs. She'll feel a little more settled after those 2 penalty kicks have got her side back into this. Mason, support from Thompson. Ball is kicked away from a stray Irish boot and from an offside position, so England have a penalty advantage. Kerry Large over the halfway line. Mason, Cornborough. In fact, it was Noel Smith, but they're going back for the penalty.
Be interesting to see what they do here now with 40 minutes on the clock having gone past, whether they keep the ball in play or whether they just want to get in at half-time and regather, especially with the momentum over the last 6 to 7 minutes slightly gone in Ireland's favour.
Yes, the momentum has certainly swung to the visitors a little. Sarah Hunter just goes in to make sure of the call, and there it is. That's the decision to take themselves into the break at half-time. So the referee blows the whistle. The first 40 comes to a conclusion. England 8, Ireland 6. Amber Reid with the early penalty to give England the lead by 3 points to 0. Then Emma Croker with the try. But Neve Briggs has got Ireland back into it with those 2 penalties. Let us know your thoughts at half-time. Keep in touch with us with the hashtag #SendHerVictorious. What will we see from the second 40 minutes? A few other messages coming in then from the hashtag #SendHerVictorious. Got a shout out to Vicky Cogger, who's had an operation on her first ankle. She'll be back stronger, we hear.
Yes, Vicky was actually one of my players when I coached at Hartbury College, and I know that she'll definitely be back stronger from it. I think she's got another operation to go after this one, but good luck to her, and hopefully see her on the pitch soon.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we can have a look at the game's only try so far, and this was how it came through England's forward strength. Emma Croker, you can just see through the bodies dotting down.
what's really pleasing is just the simplicity of this. This is a training park play, and they'll be really pleased, especially because this is how they beat the Irish in the November tests. Matt Ferguson, a hooker himself, will be pleased. But yeah, great to get the 5 points early doors.
Yes, it certainly is. So we can have a little look at how the teams have both fared in the competition so far, with some of the highlights and some of the scores from earlier in the competition. So this was the autumn international game. That was the score going over Izzy Knowles-Smith, that 8-3 victory.
Yeah, and shows the importance again, as I say, of the basics and the catch and drive, which actually in years gone by Ireland have been a real powerhouse with.
And then we move on to this Six Nations campaign. The first score, I love this, Rocky Clark, first receiver, a little bit of footwork, and then the ball goes wide into Lauren Cattell's hands, and well, that's the sort of finish you want from the back line.
Yeah, definitely, but it's set up by the fact that Rocky does interest by her footwork as first receiver. Here you can see a basic setup play by Sarah Hunter, giving it to Kerry, and here's that power and strength we've spoken about with Harriet Miller-Mills. That's what you want from your six. You want her coming round from the corner, from the set piece.
And this is where Miller-Mills really just took an inside line and completely flummoxed the Scots. Second try against Scotland. And then this classic old Sarah Hunter work.
Yeah, Sarah's a fantastic player. And again, England just showing a little bit of experience there by making sure that they stay nice and tight. Scotland are trying to break up that maul, but I don't know whether Sarah had oh, has she gone over on the try line on that bit?
She's coming now, any moment now. She breaks around the corner. It's the low body position. There's the first one. And then here she is, right in position, hands on the ball, drive, and she's over. England winning that one, as we mentioned, by 32-0. And in the game against Italy, well, they had to come from behind. Ruth Laybourne with the initial break, and then the support inside from Lauren Cattell.
I think what you can see here is actually just basics done well. You know, the Italian defence was relatively weak in the wider channels, but they were flooding down through that channel and showing the intent to play a wider game.
And this, as the ball came wider, presented Katie Mason with a lovely opportunity for that inside line, and gets the ball down, and that's the sort of fullback line that I may have seen you pick on a few occasions, Danielle.
Yeah, it's a great line there by Katie. And here you can see, you've spoken about the intent that Kerry's got with her ball carries. She's started the initial gain line success here, interlinking forwards and backs in the wider channels, which that you've seen in today's game, and nicely finished off there.
And then Bianca Blackburn ends up finishing off this try, and this is an absolute beauty. England breaking down the right-hand side, and then it's interplay and support on every shoulder. Emma Croker, then back on to Blackburn. It's a lovely team try.
Oh, superb team try, and really, really effective. They kept the ball off the floor, which meant that actually they had the momentum. Italy's defence was scrambling, and you know, try time for Bianca.
In terms of Ireland, well, as we mentioned, they didn't have an awful lot of fun on their visit to Paris. They struggled to cope with France's forwards' effort. Captain Gaëlle Mignot scoring on that occasion. Just allowing their heads to drop, and we've seen England do that to them, so it's something that Matt Ferguson and Scott Beeman have obviously looked at in terms of a weakness. And then, well, this was just turnover ball that the French were able to make the most of. It was ripped, and then they absolutely fly away. Caroline Boujard with the breakaway try.
with any turnover ball, if you can move the ball into the space. We saw it right at the start of this game. There was a turnover from Ireland, the ball came out to Lydia and she made the line break in this game with England. But here, France make the effective tackle and then try time out wide. That's a very, very difficult try to stop.
Yes, you feel for Sophie Spence and Senenopu giving chase, but Pujar just too fast for them. But a chance to see some of the strengths of Ireland in, well, their back row certainly. Claire Malloy showing real strength, as we can see in this clip against Wales. Just allows Naupu to use that searing line through the middle.
It's an absolutely fantastic line and real acceleration through the space.
This is, I've jumped ahead of myself, this is the Malloy strength as the ball just gets a little bit loose here. Briggs goes in to help set up the platform. And then as they come down the short side, Malloy, she's not got a lot of support around her, but she does brilliantly to stay standing. Support's allowed to get there, and then she sets up that platform that then sees that backline fire the ball down. And this is something that we've seen them try against England this evening, getting the ball down the backline, but they seem a little steeper in this clip, and perhaps they've been a little bit flat.
Yeah, they're hitting onto the ball at pace, which makes the impact of the ball carrier that much harder to defend. Here they're flooding down through the 5-metre channel, forwards and backs, as we've spoken about, as England have been doing successfully. I think here it's Sophie Spence that, again, another big ball carrier for Ireland, a similar player to Harriet Miller-Mills in essence, real leg drive, and yeah, I wouldn't want to try and stop her there.
No, me neither. So that's a little snapshot of how the teams have been faring so far. 8-6 the score at half-time here at Twickenham. And we'll be ready to get underway with the second half very shortly. But here's just a little sense to get you excited about the next round of Six Nations games when England take on Wales. So both sides are out ready for the second half to begin then. 2 points the difference. Niamh Briggs gets us restarted. Katie Mason fields the kick. She does have that running style, and that it's difficult to perceive whether she's going to put a boot to ball or continue to run it forwards. England through Amber Reid, not going to find touch there. It's just taken by Fitzpatrick. Briggs, little show, and tries to get through the gap, but it's a decent tackle from Abby Scott. Muldoon digs that one out. Stapleton, Spence. Oh, they're trying to create some extra room over on that right side. The pass from Donnelly wasn't great because Ireland might have been away there. They come back the other way. Ruth O'Reilly into the heavy traffic. Kerry Large is calling the numbers over to this left side. It's Messi. Oh, would England get the turnover? I'm not entirely sure how legal that was, whether the ruck was formed, but the referee happy enough. And Miller Mills with another one of those searing runs that we just saw at half-time in the clips of that Scotland match. This has turned into very useful turnover ball for England. Abby Scott ships it on. Mason's got to be careful she doesn't get held up. Gets that ball to ground. Now Latoya Mason. Croker on to Cornborough. Rocky Clark in there. Latoya Mason again. Reid. Sarah Hunter looked at trying to play that ball out the back, but opted to set up the ruck and go for the next phase instead. Reid. Large. Not much of a way through there for Kerry Large, and Ruth O'Reilly trying to get herself in a position to turn that ball over. Clark did well to hold up her defender there. Braund. England on the 22. Just about crossing the gain line, but it's not with any great thrust just yet. Amber Reid tries to get through, then the support is good from Noel Smith. And that was a bit more cut and thrust. Ball was loose from Latoya Mason, but it went backwards. Referee happy enough. Amber Reid ducking and diving out of the tackles. Latoya Mason. Scott again, close quarters. This is a positive start for England's second half. Croker. Oh, it was loose and it's gone forward from the hooker. And that'll be disappointing for her. But some decent spell of possession for England.
Yeah, it's a shame that that happened there. I think England potentially could have had the overlap, and they're also, by moving the ball so wide, they're creating mismatches, which you're seeing Amber picked off, I think, with a offload through to Izzy through the centre field. But a basic error has let Ireland off. I would just like to say that Maloney at the moment, the Ireland hooker, is getting through so many tackles. A fantastic effort from her and a number of the other girls in green, as they like to be called.
Well, the players just taking on a little bit of water.
The one thing I will say is England's play, we had them down here, this near touchline, with Rocky interlinking with Lydia Thompson, which is fantastic, but they had Claire Malloy sniffing around the breakdown. They were fortunate that she just slipped before she got to the ball, and actually by playing such an expansive game, you've got to be careful that you don't get skinny and then, you know, obviously lose the ball in the breakdown.
Yes, you don't want to run away from your support. You can see a tweet from Graham Smith about that first half. A good half, but needs more accuracy.
That's positive from Graham.
Hashtag send her victorious for your thoughts on this England-Ireland Women's International here in the Six Nations at Twickenham. Ireland have never beaten England at home in England. Of course, Ireland will be hosting the Women's World Cup next year, and they'll have a Six Nations fixture in Ireland to deal with as well. So, given their fourth place finish in the Rugby World Cup, and the fact that both of these sides are blooding plenty of youngsters, the sort of power shift between these sides in these Six Nations games can be huge psychologically, can't they?
Definitely. The Ireland girls have been, in years gone by, a fantastic force in and around the Six Nations, and the opportunity for a home World Cup is huge.
Ireland nearly coming through and snaffling that from the back of the line, but then Kerry Large on for Cattell. She ships that out for Mason. Mason cuts a nice line back in field. Sets the platform up once more, but sealing off. Penalty goes against Izzy Noel-Smith. She's got to stay on her feet. Referee not happy with it. And Ireland will have the penalty, possession from the penalty. Good to hear from Millie Wood about the under-20s girls supporting the seniors from their training camp. Good to have you all watching. And demanding to know how many are going to be in this line-out from Ireland. Ball is in from Maloney, it's loose, and oh, it was nearly a chance of a gather, but I think they're going back because the throw into the line wasn't straight, so England will have the option. And Sarah Hunter just has a quick chat. And they like the line out. Perhaps happier with their option to secure ball from this set piece than choosing the scrum on the 15-metre line.
England have had some real success from a variety of different types of lineouts. As you can see, they've shortened it. You've got Izzy Smith out in the back line with Harriet Miller-Mills, so it'll be interesting to see whether they use those as decoy runners or impact runners.
Well, here we go. It comes through Reid and Miller-Mills. Well, she couldn't hold on to it either way, so Claire Malloy has snaffled it up, the Irish open side. In the middle of the park, Muldoon looks to the right. She's got Maz Riley in that line outside Stapleton. Stapleton, dummies to O'Reilly. Latoya Mason, just out of your shot, has taken a bit of a knock and not looking in a great way. I wonder whether she might have a shoulder injury. In the meantime, Ireland continue to come forward through Fitzpatrick. Muldoon through Stapleton. Naupu sensing a chance of an overlap if she can break through. It's a superb tackle from Sarah Hunter, and it needed to be for England. Stapleton again, then Donnelly. Stapleton to the right, Niamh Briggs, little dummy run around the corner. Lottie Clapper's got to be careful not to get isolated on one player. Miller-Mills. Well, not entirely sure of the onside position of Miller-Mills, but I think the referee's going back for a slightly earlier call. But disappointing scenes for Latoya Mason as we can see her being led away there. And, well, it's a shame to see her game coming to an end. Bianca Blackburn will get introduced at perhaps an earlier stage than she would like to have been.
It's a real shame for England to lose Latoya. She's got huge experience in terms of her game understanding and how she manages the players, but Bianca is a really exciting, very feisty nine, very physical, likes to get set and involved herself, so it's a different style of game that she'll bring, and very disappointing to see Latoya go off under the tunnel.
Well, as Blackburn comes on, of course, Ireland with the opportunity now through Niamh Briggs to get a third penalty that would put them in the lead in this game for the first time. Blackburn comes on, as Waterman says. She's Hull-born. Northern tones will be loud and clear.
Ones I heard many a time at Hartby College, thundering across the field.
Oh yes.
Great character and a great player in the making, still very young herself.
Briggs to put Ireland ahead then. Well, England know that Niamh Briggs can punish from plenty of areas around the park, and she does it again with a fairly straightforward effort on this occasion. But it's 3 from 3 for Niamh Briggs, and Ireland lead by a point at Twickenham. Here's perhaps where Latoya Mason just got herself injured. It's difficult to quite see in there, but in the meantime, Ireland running it back from the restart. Niamh Briggs' third penalty will see them with their tails up a little. Ball comes down for Katie Mason. England need to just remain accurate, keep doing the good things well. Katie Mason up to the halfway line, nearly breaking through that last tackle. Blackburn, she'll do her best to give this backline a real energy. Looked short side, Kerry Large. Little shuffle from her, makes a meter. Blackburn. Miller Mills had to pluck that one high out of the sky, but did well and feeds Cornborough, who has got to be careful not to get isolated there. And she has done. Well, England have got to get the support in better, and it's a brilliant steal and a brilliant turnover from Ailís Egan.
Yeah, great defence there from the Irish girls. I think England are getting a little bit rusty in terms of looking after the ball carrier, and they're trying to get the width before they've earned that width in their attacking play.
Ireland sensing the opportunity to use set-piece ball just a little far out, perhaps, for Niamh Briggs to have a pop. So it comes over to the near touchline, just down below our commentary position. Half an hour remaining of the match. Ailís Egan, she's got quite the mask on there, Ailís Egan.
Although they do look a little odd, I do take my hat off to any player that wears it, because it's protecting probably quite a significant facial injury, which, you know, I wouldn't want to run into someone with a broken nose, and if I had a broken nose or cheekbone.
Yes, absolutely. Tidy up is from Cornborough. She won't be told to sit down either, Vicky Cornborough. Blackburn senses something on the short side. Wasn't quite on for Croker, but she has set it up. There's an awful lot of chat in the England backline. Abby Scott finds Miller Mills, who had to juggle. Offload then goes back to Scott. Clark with the clear out. A couple of dummy runners for England, and Amber Reid thinks she might have spotted a bit of room. Oh, and it's then been knocked forwards. Well, I say it was knocked forwards. The referee was perfectly happy with it. That was a very clear knock-on, Danielle. Quite surprising that neither of the officials spotted that, but Mairead Coyne has tiptoed into touch anyway.
Interesting decision there from Amber Reid to change the momentum of play and kick the ball. I think England have been let off a little bit.
Well, there's the knock-on from Coyne.
Potentially the first initial bounce of the ball was actually very lateral, we like to say, and then the second bit were...
You're terribly generous.
It's my old age. And I don't think I would have said it if I was playing.
Yes, quite. Jump is from Hunter, it's well won. Reid, Large, Cattell wants to try and get on the outside of her opposite number. It was in fact Naupu, the inside centre, with the tackle on Cattell, the outside centre. Ball is loose, but it's gone backwards. Croker. Clark. Little show and then straightens up. Lost a little bit of her forward momentum in doing so, but the support gives it to her. Ireland are trying to turn that into a choke tackle, I think, but England do continue to come forward. But the Irish are getting in some good positions at the breakdown. England have got to be wary of that now. And then they break away as more of a pod, and that will protect the ball a little more. Croker with Clark. It's a good solid counter drive from Ireland. Reid with one show, then they go outside for Clapp, who's off her wing. Pirouette through the first tackle. Not seen an awful lot of Lottie Clapp with open ground in front of her in this game. Reid, oh, she just tried to find a one-handed pass on the outside for Lydia Thompson, but she hands possession over. There was a sense in that last minute or two that Amber Reid was perhaps trying to take real sole responsibility to fire that backline, really get something happening. And do you think that was just a sign of England's frustration that Ireland's defence is stopping them getting anywhere right now?
I think so. This time in the game, they need to make sure that actually they're just really clear and there's a lot of clarity in what they're doing. They stick to their basics, they stick to the game plan that they've given, and you know, not let their frustrations and, like you say, try and take the game from themselves.
Couple more of your tweets. Rosie Salis watching and supporting from little old Tewkesbury, lovely part of the world. And come on Ireland from a fan in Carlow. Ireland through Mairead Coyne, coughs up the ball in the tackle. Reid off the floor. Now Kerry Large, where's she going? Malloy in such a good position to turn that over, and she's done so. That is absolutely brilliant from Malloy, but then I think it might have been wrestled back by Emily Braund. Penalty comes to Ireland though. Hands in the ruck was the call, and that is the danger of Claire Malloy earning her 44th cap. The doctor who studied medicine at Cardiff, and she's such a threat in those areas.
I've been fortunate enough to play alongside Claire Malloy over in the Bristol shirt, so a slightly different colour to the ones today, and that is her forte. She is a fantastic player around the breakdown, around the ball, works at a height that is very difficult to clear when she gets down there, and unfortunately for England, it's just taken the little bit of momentum that they had built and given Ireland far more ground to play with.
Substitution for Ireland coming off the field, number 10, Laura Stapleton.
So Ireland making some changes. Nikki Coy coming on for Nora Stapleton. Coy to earn her 6th cap. Cleona Maloney. Ball is well taken by Ireland. Now then, with the 1 point advantage, do they have the confidence to try and rumble this one all the way to the England line? Certainly will be worrying signs for the home side if they do concede. Looks like Muldoon is trying to get in there and get the ball away, but now there's a penalty advantage coming in at the side to try and defend it.
It's a really critical time for England now. I don't think that they will go for posts, and Ireland have just shown that they've got a very effective driven maul. We know that over the years gone by. They need to be very, very careful at the moment. They are staying in the game, but it is all Ireland at the moment.
Yes, it certainly is. Momentum very much with the away side currently. Big moment this in the game then. Cleona Maloney waits to get the ball into this one. Can England get in and upset it? They don't challenge. They're ready to make the counter drive onto Ireland, which they do. But Ireland managed to crab it round the back, and they have got go forward themselves, the women in green. It's there with Fitzpatrick. They stop 2 metres short. Muldoon is under pressure, the scrum half, but she's ended up swallowed into it. England's defence being questioned by Ireland now. Muldoon gets the pack of forwards that she wants. Out wide now then. They're going to try and put it through. Nikki Coy just gets caught. England have plenty of defenders out wide. Naopu shows back inside. It's a big chop tackle on the inside centre. Muldoon looks to that side again. Fitzpatrick, so close, the Irish number 8. Muldoon again for Spence. Rocky Clark in there with the tackle. England defending for all their worth here. Muldoon, Coy. Oh, it's been knocked forward by O'Reilly, but they are coming back. There's a call in, I think, from the assistant, and I think the referee might be going to her pocket here. Oh, it's a yellow card. Harriet Miller-Mills is going to the sin bin, and she's been one of England's brighter performers so far. So England will be down to 14 players for the next 10 minutes.
There's some real intent there showed by the Irish girls, but some pleasing defence from the likes of Abby Scott, Rocky Clark really stepping up and hitting them back. But to lose Harriet for 10 minutes is going to be a big ask for the forwards to fill that shirt. Interesting that they didn't keep the ball tight from the driven line out, and you know, when they played it to the line, they've got some big ball carriers, but they decided to ship it out where it hasn't been quite working this game. So it's an interesting decision there. But England's penalty count is probably far too high at the moment.
Yes, indeed. Apologies, we are aware that our graphic that briefly flashed up saying Sarah Hunter was erroneous. Harriet Miller-Mills. Well, we've got the name right, even if the number's not. Penalty, Ireland then. Briggs. I think we know what she's going to try and do with this. Oh no, she taps and goes for the corner, and I think she might have scored. Well, what's the referee saying? Well, I thought Niamh Briggs got that down. The referee's not particularly happy. I don't know who's the unhappier. Niamh Briggs, some really quick thinking there. I'm not quite sure what the referee's called her back for. We'll have another look at that incident, with Briggs taking that quick one in just a minute. But the ball with Muldoon, Coy. It's not a great pass for Naupu, so it might give England a chance to try and get away. And then Briggs has hurriedly gone for a drop goal attempt, I believe. And it'll just give England the chance of a 22 dropout. Let's just have another little look at that moment that Briggs tried to take it quickly. Here she goes for the corner. Well, there's a ball down. Not quite sure what the referee's gesturing towards, but you might have a moment of sympathy with the Irish skipper there, because she hadn't made any call to the referee. England were expecting her to kick it into the corner. The home side breathe again, but they still trail by a point, of course. Briggs comes forward on this occasion, gathers the ball. Coy. She's a direct runner. England ruck through, but Irish players just catching themselves. Briggs catching herself in an offside position and gives the penalty away. Yeah, great work from Izzy Knowles-Smith there. She made the tackle, bounced off the floor and drove straight through the breakdown. To be honest, I think Ireland have let England back in that game by Niamh going through for the drop goal. It was an interesting decision because actually they had the momentum at that part of the game. So it's a real opportunity for England, and hopefully they can nail their set piece with this line out. Well, England need to find a way to turn that momentum back towards themselves. Changes being made for England. Amy Cockayne is now on. First call at the line is successful. Girl originally from New Zealand. She's a very physical and determined young lady. Came to the UK in 2012 to play for England, Cockayne. Blackburn. There is Cockayne with the carry. Sarah Hunter with another big hit. England going back to doing what they know. And now out for Amber Reid. Large little check back inside from Cattell. Large running round the outside, and then Cattell again. They've got to be careful they don't run away from their support, but their fellow backs get in quickly. Amber Reid, oh, that's a really quick bit of defensive line pressure from Cleona Maloney, but they did get the pass away to Cockayne, and England still have it. Blackburn, Braund in the middle of the park. She's carried a fair amount, Emily Braund. Father played at Exeter during the 70s. Penalty advantage being played to England now. It's in kicking range for Amber Reid as well. Rocky Clark. Fens. Wouldn't say that's a fair battle. Rocky Clark into Larissa Muldoon. England still with it. Reid onto Mason. Mason cutting back in field. Have England lost the chance to go back for that advantage? That could be telling if they can't get a score out of this. Bianca Blackburn. Cockayne into the 22. Cockayne won't believe she's tackled until she's truly tackled. Then she does go down, 12 metres out from the line. Blackburn, Reid, Mason fires it off to Thompson. England get the support there. It might open up for Abby Scott. And England get the try. Ireland's defence was sucked in and the door opened for Abby Scott. And the persistence from the forwards there paying off. And they'll be delighted with that.
Fantastic finish there from Abby, but I would say it actually came from the work rate of Amy Cockayne. She made a line break, but she didn't give up. She pumped her legs, she kept going, and yeah, got over the gain line, which disrupted the Irish defence.
Lydia Thompson with the carry, but the speed of recycling just caught Ireland unawares. It's a solid clear out from England, 2 or 3 of them in there, and well, perhaps they thought that Abby Scott was going to set a platform for the ball to be spun away by Blackburn, but Abby Scott had other ideas. She thought quickly, and the DMP Sharks second row has got over for the score. Incidentally, while I was doing my research this week, I looked on Abby Scott's profile on the englandrugby.com website. It says, does Abby support a football team? Absolutely not, came the reply. Quite enjoyed that. Yeah. So, Amber Reid then. Tricky conversion out on the right-hand side. Stroked it nicely, but the radar just to the left of the posts. Right in line with that from our position. So England back into the lead then. Will calm a few of the nerves, but it's just by 4 points. So they're still going to need to watch their discipline as more of the changes are made. Heather O'Brien comes onto the field for Ciara Griffin, and O'Brien, well, she's an experienced campaigner, earning her 26th cap. She was part of that side that beat the Black Ferns in the Women's Rugby World Cup in 2014, a Grand Slam winner in 2013, and part of the side that won last year, of course, the championship. Plays her rugby in Toulouse. So as much as both of these sides have a bit of inexperience on the benches, they've also got people like Heather O'Brien they can bring on. You wonder whether we'll see the introduction of Tamara Taylor soon for England, perhaps. Here's Fitzpatrick playing at 8, where often you will see O'Brien. And a big carry from Ailís Egan, wearing that face mask. Muldoon onto Coy. Oh, and that's really well picked off by Amy Cockayne. She's still going. Supports there. Sarah Hunter's going to play scrum half. Off to Cornborough. Cattell gets that up for Lottie Clapp. Good tackle from Elise O'Byrne. England come again, straight through the middle. They'd love to get another try to go with the one just scored by Abby Scott. Rocky Clark. All the more impressive while they're down to 14. Without Miller Mills on the field, that'll be frustrating Ireland, no doubt. Amy Cockayne has looked so bright since she's come on. She's now going to have to play scrum half. And she'll take a pick and go round the corner. Rocky Clark will get stuck in and help with some of the dirty stuff. Sarah Hunter. Good tackle from Maz Riley. Blackburn. Reid. It'll switch in field to Kerry Large. It was a little bit over-telegraphed, that. Blackburn. Well snaffled up by Ruth O'Reilly. England still have it though. And Vicky Cornborough. Got to be careful she doesn't run away from her support. Cockayne popping up in the centre now. Blackburn looking left. Rocky Clark. Oh, gets rid of the first tackle, brushes Senanopu around away like she wasn't there. Blackburn really having to dig for this, and England get the penalty. And that could be an important one.
some superb work there around the breakdown for England. You mentioned Vicky Cornborough making a line break and potentially getting turned over, but they are getting to the ball carrier quickly and making sure that the Irish that are back on their feet from their tackles quickly aren't disrupting or turning the ball over.
So a chance for Amber Reid to make it a 7-point gap. A couple of messages on hashtag send her victorious. Abby Scott, you're my hero. And Lydia Cowell, when Abby Scott flies over the line, the Polly House goes crazy. A few mentions of the Polly House. I wish I knew what they were about. Here's Amber Reid then. Certainly got the legs, but it's just left of the upright. So Amber Reid just leaving a couple of points out there. How crucial will that be come full time?
Interesting, England have gone for nobody short here on the right hand side of the field, but the space not spotted by Niamh.
Yes, well, they obviously wanted to try and force England into the error, and well, commentators curse. Sarah Hunter does just nudge that ball forward. So just looking down at that pack, I can see that Tamara Taylor is onto the field, and will that be associated with us not seeing the return of Harriet Miller-Mills, perhaps? Changes are plenty as we reach the final 10 minutes of the match. Great to see the support here at Twickenham. Means so much to these players to be able to play at the home of England Rugby. And it's a chilly old night, so the support is incredibly welcome by the players and the support staff around England.
Definitely, it's a huge honour to play here at Twickenham. I've loved every opportunity they have, and hopefully my boots might go back out there again soon. But yeah, great opportunity for the girls, and also great to see the crowds on both sides of the stadium.
Ireland with it, up to the 10-metre line inside their own half. Decent run by O'Byrne White. Muldoon thinks they've spotted a bit of room down this short side. Briggs, nice dummy back in field. Lydia Thompson's tried to get into a position to win that ball back, but she does effectively slow it down. Maz Riley with the carry. Muldoon, 10 minutes to go. Naupu. Oh, that's really strong work from the centre. Muldoon again. Corhi. And on to Maloney. Muldoon, she's opted to put an effective box kick through, and in fact it's worked out for Ireland. I was going to say it didn't look particularly effective, but the error it's drawn has brought Ireland forward by a good 15 metres. And they recycle again through Muldoon. Fitzpatrick wants to try and find that pass on the outside for Donnelly. Wasn't forthcoming. Ball is loose. Amber Reid pounces on it. And at the moment, Ireland haven't got anybody at home. But Cornborough, she's not going to be the one to boot that downfield. She's going to carry strong and carry straight as she does. Sarah Hunter, shipped on by Noel Smith to Rocky Clark. Commando roll from Clark, sets the ball back. Reid, they're calling they want it out. Katie Mason screaming. Oh, but the pass just couldn't be held by Lottie Clapp. Move breaks down over on the far side, and just seeing, I think, Lydia Thompson getting a little bit of attention just out of your shot down below us. But you could, well, from our commentary position, you could hear Katie Mason screaming that they had the numbers on that far side.
Yeah, disappointing end to that phase of play. I think what we need to give credit to is actually the England's defence there, turning defensive work into attack. I see on your screens at the moment, T and Bianca making a little bit of a basic error, but as it rolls on, Lydia Thompson actually came off her wing. It was a 3-on-1. She came in and off into the Irish defence, which kept them back in play, and then the turnover came. So Lydia's getting through quite a lot of work without actually having too much space to attack with at the moment.
Well, this is Mason joining the line there from Cattell. It's just the pass from Mason actually was a little high for Clapp.
It's also Lottie getting very flat on the pass without providing her with a space to be able to pass the ball into. It's a very difficult one to make, and quite often when you see players try and catch the ball on your shoulder, which is difficult when you're running at full pace.
Well, on the other wing, Lydia Thompson is having to leave the field. She is gently jogging off, so nothing too serious, perhaps a touch of cramp or some tightness there, but it's going to give an opportunity for Ruth Laybourne to earn her cap number 15. Debuted for England against Spain in the European Cup 4 years ago. Ireland's line out. Oh, Vicky Cornborough has reacted brilliantly at the back again, and it turns into England possession. And Noel Smith perhaps can't understate, or perhaps we have understated the role that Noel Smith has played this evening as well. Had some bright moments, been in the right places at the right time. Difficult to shine on the open side when you're on the pitch with Claire Malloy at the same time. Muldoon out through Corey. They're trying to run it from their own 22. They do get the ball over the top, but it goes forward, and that's going to give England a scrum just outside the 22.
It's a really good attacking option there for Ireland. They actually had Amy Cockayne on the edge of the defence for England, so disappointing that didn't go to hand. So I think they probably would have been away and to make a lot of ground.
The replacement for Ireland coming off number 15, Neve Briggs, being replaced by 23, Jackie Shields.
So Jackie Shields coming on for the Irish skipper Neve Briggs, and also change being made for England. Izzy Noel-Smith is leaving the field, and 18-year-old Poppy Leach comes on to earn her second cap, made her debut against Italy, and she comes on. She'll be looking forward to this moment.
Interesting for Poppy, she actually got capped for England seniors before she got capped for England under-20s, which, yeah, is a credit to her as a player, and I know that Matt Ferguson, the forwards coach, is really excited about her.
England have the ball with Amber Reid. There wasn't an awful lot on for the ball out wide from Reid, so she had to take the contact, but she did so well. Blackburn ferreting away to get that ball in there. Knock on from Abby Scott though. Muldoon. Corey. Muldoon kicks that one away. Mason runs up to it. Rocky Clark is just taking a while to get up. Just rushing back now to get herself onside, but now this loose ball could be playing into the hands of Ireland as they try and go around the outside through Mairead Coyne, but England do well to shepherd Coyne into touch, and they'll have the line out here.
Some excellent defensive work there by Abby Scott, not only making the tackle but using the touchline as that extra defender and really driving out Coyne. I think both of the Irish wingers have been really busy in this game. Their carries have been really effective, but I think the one thing that they'll be disappointed with and the coaches need to be looking at following on is the number of times they have gone into touch, because it is just such easy turnover. There I would say is a little bit difficult. She got wrapped up by a big girl, but a couple of other times that they've given away.
Yes. Well, other changes. B. Dawson coming on. Corporal Bianca Dawson plays her rugby at Wasps. First started playing rugby when she was 15. And she sloped off to the dark world of association football, but in 2011 started playing again with the Army. Ireland have it with Muldoon onto Fitzpatrick. Muldoon again, Spence running around the corner. England have got to be careful because The gap is only 4 points, of course, and although they've started to really come back into the game in the last 10 minutes or so, they are still there for the taking, and Ireland will be all too aware of that. Nicky Coy onto O'Brien. Muldoon trying to keep the pace up. Clearna Maloney. Big carry into Sarah Hunter. The England skipper was ready for it. Coyne gets in. Cornborough trying to effect the turnover there. Nearly managed to get it back. Sorry, it was Heather Kerr. Or it might have been B. Dawson, in fact, as I'm calling it Cornborough. That was the change. Ailís Egan. England have managed to force Ireland back defensively. Stray boot in there, puts the pressure on, and then Cocaine's there with the interception. Tamara Taylor over the 10-metre line, and the volume from the home fans in the stands goes up. 4.5 minutes or so until the end of the game. Sarah Hunter, little show, she'll need support. She gets it. Reid wants to thread the ball through. We saw her do plenty of that in the first half. It's loose, and it's not gathered in from Jackie Shields. Not on the first time of asking anyway. She's done well. Ball is away from Muldoon. In the hands of Katie Mason. Have England got the opportunity to go wide here? Has Kerry Large seen that it's on? Hunter, good tackle from Malloy. Back row on back row. Large through Cocaine. Cattell breaks the first tackle. Cattell, it's a good run from the outside centre. Blackburn wants to keep the tempo up. Braun, lovely feet from the second row up to the 22. Ireland are calling for support. England are going to have to go all the way to the wing if they're going to make the numbers count. They've got to try and hold the Irish defence. The chip comes through, the ball will beat everybody into touch, but at the very least Katie Mason's effort to try and send Ruth Laybourne into the corner just keeps Ireland pinned back 7 metres or so from their own line.
Yeah, some fantastic play there from a lot of the England forwards actually playing against the grain. You saw Emily Braun step check the defender and attack a weak shoulder, which meant that it put the Irish defence on the back foot. Great to see Katie Mason with that kicking option. Unfortunately, the ball didn't stay in play, because I think that possibly could have been an extra 5 points with Ruth Laybourne's name on it.
So Heather Kerr comes onto the field, replacing Rocky Clark. It's another notch on the caps list for Rocky Clark as she chases down Jason Leonard's 114 record.
Can I just say that, you know, Rocky Clark is one of my favourite players, and I found out a lovely stat for all those people that like a few numbers in the game. She ran over 6 kilometres in the game against against Italy, and I think she's not far off that with her 77 minutes today.
Yes, an incredible athlete, honoured at the Rugby Union Writers Club Awards at the start of the year for her contribution to the game. Her sights truly set on another Rugby World Cup next year in Ireland. Ireland driving this out of their own 22. Got a long way to go. They've got a penalty advantage. The referee will blow the whistle as Ruth Laybourne takes that one in. 2 minutes left on the stadium clock. Just a minute and a half on the screen that you're watching via our live stream. Great to have your company. Had messages from Women's Rugby World Cup winning coach Gary Street. Good to know that you're watching. Lorna George, loving the fact that you yelled so loud you scared the dog. That's a wonderful bit of information via #CenterVictorious. Southwest Academy girls will be watching from Bovingdon Camp in Dorset. Florence Long and teammates cheering on England, that's good to know. And Stuart Blackburn supporting Tamara Taylor. #Moden family. And from Thurles RFC, entertaining game being watched by all in Tipperary, supporting Niamh Briggs. Well, she has made way now. Jackie Shields on the field. But England 4 points in the lead. Can they hold on to possession and grind out this victory? There were just 5 points between the sides in that November international. England a little bit careless there in the drive, just driving into their own player. It's an accidental offside, so it's just a penalty. Just a scrum.
Real significant turnover there for England, and actually a shame that the unintentional offside has happened. Massive scrum to make sure that they don't allow Ireland back in and enforce some of the rugby that they've had out wide.
So it's a last tilt for glory for Ireland. England are going to have to defend this hard. They've got a fair way to go, Ireland. Muldoon gets it away for Coyne. Coyne steps back in field. England have got to be whiter than white here. Corhi onto Naupu. Good tackle from Kerry Large. Muldoon continuing to plug that short side. England trying to hold them up in the choke tackle. Sarah Hunter in a great position, but they do get that ball to ground, and Muldoon will keep it alive. They come wider through O'Brien. Up the middle, Muldoon. Corhi. Then wider to Donnelly. Big hit from Amber Reid. Felt that one. Muldoon, oh, she's lost it on the floor, and did it go forward there? It certainly did. The time on the stadium clock says 80 minutes, and the referee blows the final whistle. England have done it at Twickenham and upkept the record that Ireland just cannot seem to get past in terms of beating England at home. It's a final score in the Six Nations of England 13, Ireland 9. And what will that do for this year's championship?
I think it's a huge confidence builder for England. They've got, yes, a lot of experience, but they've also got a lot of girls playing for the first time out here at Twickenham. The Irish are a strong outfit. The fact that they had the win away in Ireland last year, we're going to be facing them in Ireland next year in a World Cup win, but to make sure that we don't lose that unbeaten record at home is fundamental to a real confidence for a team that I think last year was hugely disappointed. So yeah, 3 wins for them. Awesome stuff.
Yes, it's a final score here at Twickenham of England 13, Ireland 9. And well, certainly a word on Ireland. I mean, there was plenty of threat from them, and as England lost their discipline towards the end of that first half, Niamh Briggs was able to punish, and there were some bright lights for Ireland. Obviously, we know the likes of Claire Malloy, some big carries from the likes of Eilish Egan, Sophie Spence, Maz Riley, and some real cut and thrust from Senna Naupu at inside centre as well. But they were quite lateral, and perhaps having those players to truck it up the middle, get over that gain line, was just something that Ireland missed out on at a few moments in the game.
Yeah, and I also think that there were key moments where they gave the ball back to England. Niamh going for the drop goal was an interesting decision, because actually they had the momentum, and if they'd kept ball in hand and they got another 5, potentially 7 points with her kicking game, that's a very different scoreline. I think that the backs were very busy for the Irish. I think O'Brien White had a great game. She played very similar to Lydia Thompson, coming off of her wing, being involved. But yeah, I agree, probably a little bit too lateral and too many unforced errors, which they saw against France, which they'll be disappointed with.
Well, I think we can have a look at the try that was scored by Abby Scott.
So a big win for the England ladies, and
just seeing her pick and go round the corner, and Abby Scott gets over.
I think there it was just some naivety in the Irish defence. The bodyguard that was close to the breakdown went round to the blind side and left the space for Abby to go through.
So the team's just congratulating each other the great respect of the game of rugby. We will do our best to bring you some post-match reaction in just a moment or two.
This is all about the forwards. Let's hear it for the running try scorer, Abby Scott. Thank you very much.
So England having to fight in that second half. It's not the big high-scoring game, but with Ireland by a point, leading by a point into the start of that second half. It was a concerted effort by England to get themselves back on top on the scoreline. So it's been another thrilling day of RBS Six Nations action, and with the men winning by 21 points to 10 here at Twickenham, the gauntlet was thrown down for England's women to do the same, but they've come through. They are 3 wins from 3, as are the men in the Six Nations. Ireland suffering a second loss is going to make their campaign very hard now indeed, but England have still got challenges to face against Wales, and of course to travel to France, where Ireland stumbled as well. So plenty for them to face. We really appreciate your company here on englandrugby.com in watching our live streaming coverage. It's a final score here at Twickenham of England 13, Ireland 9.
Scott, many congratulations. The Six Nations champions for the last 2 years. How much of a statement have you just made beating them?
Oh, look, that's it's a pretty big statement, but we've always had pretty fiercely contested games with the Irish. I'm just sort of proud of our girls, really, that we're still a relatively new group with the group that we're working with here. And look, they're just building week on week. So 3 games into the competition. Now we've got to go forward and grow as a team and evolve and go and hunt a fourth.
How pleased were you with the way you put pressure on Ireland at times?
Yeah, look, I think we put pressure on them at times. I think at times they got a little bit of pressure on us. At times we brought pressure upon ourselves. So the game plan that we had in place, the girls stuck to, made it work, believed in each other, and look, it feels pretty nice to get a win here at Twickenham.
You talked about this team growing. Abby Scott's try, the 10 minutes before then, you were camped on your line and then you worked your way up the field. A year ago, Scott, would this team have done that?
Potentially, it's not for me to say. These girls, a year ago they were relatively young as a group. Now, just the layers of experience that matches like this give them in what is an extended build up to a Rugby World Cup. So the likes of Abby Scott, a fantastic player. She's continually evolving the game, continually developing experience, so that when we get tight games like that, there's pressure. There's a 4-point swing in the fixture, and somebody like Abby then can withstand that pressure, make good decisions, and I think she'll be pretty pleased to be on the end of that one.
So are you proud of the commitment that was shown as well then?
Yeah, look, the question from these girls has never been in question. They're a fantastic group, and I think playing somewhere here as special as Twickenham just is that little bit extra on the cake.
Great stuff, Scott. Well done.
Anyways, thank you.
Abby, many congratulations. Ireland are double Six Nations champions. They've come here and you've got the win over them. How does that feel?
Oh, I mean, it's amazing. We knew what was at stake. We knew it would be a tough battle. It always is against Ireland, so to get the win like that, it was tough all the way through. It's great, yeah.
How important was it to get a fast start?
Pardon?
How important was the fast start that you got?
Yeah, it's really important. It sets a tone for the rest of the game, and we knew we couldn't take a backward step, and we had to go in firing. It sets a tone for the rest of the game, and you can't afford to take off a little bit against Ireland because they're that physical.
In the second half, they were camped on your line for about 10 minutes. You kept them out, and then you came up the field and you got your try. How much character as a team did you show with that?
Yeah, huge amount of character. All this week we've been talking about the team, about how everything we do is for the team, working together, because there's no point if going in half-hearted. We've all got to work together, and that showed in that try, and being on our try line, being so physical in defence, and then managing to get all the way up and get a try ourselves.
Now, I know you guys are very proud of the Stoop being your home, but how special was it playing at Twickenham?
It's always a special experience to come out, and especially after the boys and the great rugby that they've played, and to have everyone here watching, it's a very special experience.
Congratulations, Abby. Well played.
All right, thank you very much.